Hello. My name is Andrew. Welcome to my channel. Uh, there are a series of streams I'm recording right now. They are related to solving one of my problems I have. It's video generation pipelines. So today, in order to support my channel, I need to do some jobs on a daily basis. So in the morning, I start assembling data, doing it all manually, and it takes some time. So I decided to make a pipeline which will utilize some hardware I have. It's unused laptops. Let me find the picture. Yeah, here it is. These ones. Can I? Yeah. So I have two laptops. One is quite old. It's MacBook on top. It has 4 cores, and its operation system is no longer updated. Thank you, Apple. I tried to install Ubuntu on a laptop above, but it was quite a frustrating experience because let's say, it needs some optimization, and unfortunately my battery used to last like an hour or less because it also needs some service. But when I use it with macOS, it can work for a while. As well as the laptop below, it's a preview. Can I make some annotations here? No, it seems I cannot. Yeah, so as well as MacBook below, it also doesn't get any updates. So why not to utilize them as simple containers for the things I do with binaries. So I have two binaries which runs as a service when machine starts. Soon I will get my delivery with Raspberry Pi Zero. Yes. 0W, this one. It used to cost with taxes etc. like 18 euros. So I have a bit different utilization for it, but for now I would like to use it as simple cron tab runner which will connect to my Wi-Fi router. So my router has a USB. It's possible that I can plug it straight to my router. It also should have Wi-Fi. Let me check. No, it doesn't have. It's not a big deal. So that thing will have a cron tab which runs and makes a few things. First of all, it will execute pipelines in the morning, and then its second purpose, it's let's say those channels I have comments there, and somehow, at least today, I've got a lot of views and some funny comments. I had to answer them in manual mode in YouTube Studio. It's awesome. I like this. But what if I use cron tab to gather those comments into messenger-like style and simply get those comments to my Telegram channel and answer in Telegram like a messenger? Maybe similar thing exists in YouTube app itself, but I just need to discover things. So this thing will have at least two purposes. And here is first pipeline. First pipeline will simply get input as a text to generate video according that input. What does it do? Triggers at 7. Yes, that's correct. Here is the architecture of this thing. There is worker, another worker, and numbers of workers. Shared storage, which will contain states of pipeline results. So there are a few ways how to make this kind of communication, but I would like to have some sort of resilience. So whatever worker does, it should write it in local storage as well as shared storage. And then it should simply pass its results to another worker if it has no capabilities. For example, laptop below and laptop above doesn't have good GPU, which is necessary for a few models I have. I must execute them on my PC. So in this particular case, worker 1 doesn't have any blocks able to work with GPU, but worker N has it. So I can simply pass HTTP request and say, hello worker N, you have to generate picture, pick this file from shared storage, it's your input. Maybe there are some parameters for ML itself. So that's the reason of shared storage. I do not want to have a database. It's single point of failure, first of all, and then it's a bit overkill for my project. Then I have multicast DNS. It's the way how my workers will communicate each other. That multicast contains some tags, which simply says, okay, this worker is able to work with GPU, and this worker have some fine-tuned model which has been distilled from somewhere, and it doesn't have access to internet, for example. That's how they understand what worker is able to do things. I haven't created Grafana, but I mean, set up Grafana environment for now, because there is right now nothing to analyze, nothing to report. And I decided to use Telegram, but yesterday there were some news about Pavel Durov arrested in France. Hello, freedom. I will proceed working with Telegram because it's quite interesting platform. A while ago I had some experience working with that. It was awesome, unlike a bit, let's say, small number of their competitors. What else? Yes, I have defined the way how workers will announce itself in local network. Also, I have, let's say today, I have updated the interface of Pipeline. I have removed some root properties, and now pipeline config looks like this. It's simple, one pipeline. And also let me show you how it's done in file system. So in file system, I have it quite straightforward. There is config. Obviously, config won't contain any secrets. All the secrets should be either in vault or in some very secret file. In best case, it should be USB stick. In, let's say, one of workers, maybe one of workers will have authorization or credentials block, which can simply respond other workers, hello, shared storage has these keys, etc. So this is my config, and it's quite interesting. I have big schema for pipeline validation, where it's simply described as there is slug, title, description. In previous stream I have created the schema. Today I have updated it just a bit. And we have blocks. There is no detail what block contains except some generic stuff such as ID, description, and output, input config. There is nothing else. And then it's a big config for all pipelines input. So any API request, whatever comes into, it will be validated against this schema. But I also have a folder which contains different pipelines. And now in here, I can simply define what this pipeline can do. Maybe in future I'll make some sort of inheritance, but to be honest, I don't like this in YAML or JSON files. It's pain. So in this particular case, I have video generation based on input. So this input is quite straightforward. Answer this question, then it makes a list of text-to-speech files, list of segments, speech transcription, list of images, assemble those images, etc. So it's all described in plan. But what's interesting, it's the way I have defined it in Golang itself. So I have a config. Here it is. This config has a few things. Here it is. So I have a directory and a big schema. That big schema defines the config, and it simply makes on call to get this config. So this function, it's new config, it yields read-only thing config. It doesn't return a pointer to that config. And I have simple pointer for the schema, which can be used later. I think it's here. So I have a validator, and that all files from config pipelines, each of them will be read into Pipeline Registry. Here, load from catalog. Maybe I should rename it load from directory. Okay, it's just a question of naming variable. I decided to call it catalog because it's a catalog of pipelines. It's not the registry itself. It's just a list of dummy text files or JSON files. And there is another config. It's definition of how to validate those small files. And this is how I've done it. Simply read all files. New pipeline, it has its own validator, but that particular validator does not check what's inside. It simply checks that, okay, the schema JSON is correct. And the pipeline registration here where I check big config against small pipelines themselves. And what's important is that this config, big config, it doesn't have any details about block contents. For example, I have a block to make HTTP request. Inside of input, I have URL method headers. They are not described in any kind of configuration except the block itself. So the registry, it should detect the block, and after that, this should be validated against the block config. So what I mean, I haven't done it, but I have added a few things to test. Pipeline registry, pipeline test. So in here I'm validating that broken JSON won't work, correct JSON works. But pipeline registry, it's the place where all the magic happens. Because I can have some dummy pipeline, I need to test a few things. I don't want to rewrite half of compiled code. So today my plan was to define a few blocks in JSON schemas, and then to... okay, fine. It will take a few streams. So I need to define a few blocks and implement validation. Let me edit this. Implement validation of pipeline blocks against block schema. So I think I had it. By the way, let me check. The block has validate method. Yes, validate schema. But it simply validates that schema is correct. Here, validate schema string. Yes. So it says, okay, there is no new schema. Yield me the JSON itself. So in case if it's broken for any reason, for example, here, the test should not work. I have a test block HTTP test. Yes, let's run tests in this file. It should fail. And yes, it fails. And now I return things back and run tests again. How much failed? 1. Validate schema. Okay, nice. Schema correct. And now, yes, no problems, all passed. So I have the test for this, but there is no test of definition of this block. What I mean, where was it? Block registry, I had it somewhere, block detector. Here it is. So in here I instantiate this block with detector. Detector, it's how to say that that thing is available in this particular environment. I mean hardware environment or software. Maybe there is firewall which blocks Google console. I cannot make HTTP request to Google. So there is no validator of config entry. That's a problem, and I will try to solve it today because I have OpenAI request block. Let's make it today. I'll create new file, block OpenAI request. Well, I would like to have some prefix. Block HTTP, it's ID of this block. Oh, nice. So let's remove this prefix. Or will it cause problems? That's what the problem. If I have blocks HTTP go, will it import HTTP correctly? In here it's not HTTP. In here it will be blocks HTTP. Okay, fine. Because detector, it's, yeah, let me return it. Detector, it's fine, block registry. Okay, in here I have block, let's call it package blocks. It will be copy of block HTTP, but with limitation. Also, there is a problem. Let me share Firefox. In Golang, oops, why am I not moving Firefox? Nice. There are a few ways how to work with an OpenAI and Golang. I can either implement my own HTTP client or OpenAI Golang library. I remember there was, yes, here. I was scoping today just a bit. So it's quite good library. I might install it here. And it has interface quite straightforward. What kind of things I must get, response, and it contains just the same as Python. And here I can go get terminal, go get. Now I can say, okay, block OpenAI, you need to import this. Also, it was OpenAI. Nice. And now I need to, I wouldn't say copy paste, but define a few things. How to detect if this machine can do requests. OpenAI right now it's HTTP, so I need to write custom type detector. It won't be. Oh, by the way, I can use the same detector. Yes, I do not need to define custom detector because in blocks, where was it? Blocks, what was block registry? Let's find block registry. Here, detector.go. So I can simply say there is new. Here it is. Type block OpenAI. It's important that OpenAI has a different requests, obviously, and there are requests to some models which won't yield you text. Sometimes, for example, text-to-speech, I use OpenAI model, it yields you a file. So in this particular case, it will be, let me check the name of this pipeline. It might be incorrect. HTTP request, get content for video. Yes. So in this case, I used to utilize some outdated blocks. Today I'm making new blocks. So let's call it OpenAI completion. Yes. Now slug get text content for video. Everything is correct. In this, I do not need to pass URL, post, and other stuff. All I need to pass is what does Firefox has this in this example. I need to pass model and list of messages. Okay, fine. I'll do it in the thing as well. Block OpenAI request completion structure. And where is my HTTP block? Yes, it's closed. It will have async motex. Obviously, it's necessary. Then it will have the same things as this, but new block open AI records. Which will yield this and return. Okay. JSON contains by the way, method was called create chat completion. Chat completion, let's call it chat completion. And then here I should say OpenAI chat completion. Because text-to-speech will have a bit different interface as well as input slash output. Its output is MP3, for example. Okay, name OpenAI chat completion. Block to perform request to OpenAI. Short completion. Okay, what do we have? Input, type object, input parameters. Yes, that's correct. I need to pass a model. There is hard-coded enum of what's inside. That's possibly correct, but I think there is GPT-3 or GPT-4o. Let me check. How it was called. It was also GPT-4o mini. I'm browsing some documentation and it's not going good. Let me check what my current script calls, because it might be confusing. Storage uploader, AI services, so model, get completion. So this is what I'm using in GPT-4o. Yes, right now it's the only thing I'm using for chat completion. So let's keep it as simple as possible. Also say default. Yes. Prompt. Okay. I don't need max tokens. I need to pass only prompt. Model and prompt are required. Yes, required input. So it seems this model schema is correct. But what I don't like is the way it's defined inside. But let's keep it for now. Obviously, later I will have to rework it, because it calls me to have this block ID. Maybe I should introduce shared parent, like shared class. Right now I'm copy pasting it because it was one block. It was okay. Let's do it. And here I should say sync mutex. Mutex. In here, it's not block HTTP, but this. Yes, let's make shared parent. It's like block go. It's the same package. Blocks. Type block struct. By the way, block, it's an interface, so block parent. Maybe I should rename it. But what it has all these fields. And what's most important, it has all these methods. Schema detect, yes. Oh, no, not all. I think this one. It's not block HTTP, but block parent. Also, it should have mutex. And now this class should be correct. As well as, let's rewrite this class because this is no longer needed. Let's say it's just block parent. I don't need most of this. Yes, beautiful. So when I run test, make tests, no, make test unit, I think. It should not yield any problems, but it does. Nice. What was an issue? Blocks HTTP. But I have said there is block parent. Correct. Oh. Let me check how Golang I remember it was inheritance like this. It used to have inheritance like this. So when I say, okay, there is a block parent and there is no need to say block parent and then declare this thing. But it seems like no longer a valid thing. Here it is. Will it work? It does. Okay, no problems. Let's simply copy paste that thing. Now it should not yield any compilation issues. And that should pass. Yes, it works. Now I need to do a few things. First of all, there is detector here. So I should say there is new block on OpenAI completion. There is custom detector, but custom detector will be not OpenAI completion itself, but HTTP. And the way how to check if I can do it, it's to ping OpenAI API. So I need to find an address of OpenAI API. OpenAI API. What was it? I need API endpoint. Docs. Quick start. Where do we make those requests? They said client. What was it? API. Making requests, maybe there. Yes, here it is. Let me increase the size here. So this is what I was looking for. They have completion. All I need is to ensure that OpenAI.com is available. So let me check if it's possible to ping it. Yes, ping is available, which means they will not hide things from HTTP client itself. So HTTP interface should be available. I'll copy paste it here. Then I'll say, okay, new block. It utilizes detector HTTP. What's wrong? Missing method process. Oh, nice. So in here, I had, let's say, method process. Yes. To be honest, I think it should be also inherited by parent, but there is an issue. Each block has its own process. For example, block processor. I have custom interface named block processor, and it should be implemented in here, processor. But let's move it to parent as well. Block parent, come on, here. Yes. I have a custom processor as well as here. Block processor, will it work? Yes. now I need to define it. Obviously, in here, it will be OpenAI import after I define it. So, detector HTTP is here. Function, no, type. Processor OpenAI request completion. Structure with nothing inside for now. But what's most important, there should be process. Return, it should yield 0. And now all the tests should pass as well as detector. Should not say anything. So existing tests are passing, but what is necessary is to declare the output of HTTP block as well as OpenAI request block. So let's do it. In here I should commit request, but let's define it later. For now, I'm interested in OpenAI itself. Maybe I'll do it later. So we have library and the code. Let's check library. What does it say? I have client, response, and that's all we need. Other examples, streaming completion, that will be necessary later. This will be necessary in another block as well. Okay, good. What it has, caption, DALI image generation. Yes, but I think I use another model of DALI. Fine, it's okay. I can use example. So, process function, let's go. First of all, what is OpenAI? Let's say OpenAI, it's no, not this one, but this. Correct. New client, new token. Obviously, I do not have a token. Let's say it comes from config. How to make it to config? By the way, where is that processor defined? Not. Oh, also, I have a question. I have messages and the model. In here I have body messages. Where's the schema? Here type model. So input model. It will be GPT-4o messages. It is not messages but prompt. But let me check. Yes. This is a big prompt. This should be valid, but I haven't added test. That's the reason why it didn't fail anything for now. So this block should be correct. That's for this. Config equals types new config. Oh, get config. I think it was like that. Get schema. What was it? Here it is. Config. It was function named new config. But get config. It's let's say it's a singleton. So I need to use it in order to avoid excessive usage of read files, etc. So in here, wait, it's not. What's wrong with that thing? In here I can say there is config YAML. So nothing about OpenAI for now, which means it's time to implement it. OpenAI credentials path. And let's make a file named OpenAI credentials. Credentials.json, which will contain something like token, something like this. OpenAI credentials. JSON file, yes. And in config itself, let's move this here. Where is it? Here. Pipeline Registry, and OpenAI. OpenAI, nice. Let's define it. Type OpenAI config, which contains this. Let's make it camel style. Credentials path. I don't want to make it some prefix in here for now, as well as here. It's not storage credential path, but credentials, but YAML contains all things necessary, because there is some possible issues in later, because I might introduce new settings such as storage whatever, storage location, etc. So for now, let's leave it as is. Later I will update it. But what's important, OpenAI token string, which contains nothing. It's secret, it should not be serialized to anything. Maybe I should make it lowercase, like get secret. But for now, let's make it as is. It's not a big deal, because if it's on flash drive, you can pull it out wherever you think it's not okay. So I have this. If config credentials path not equals 0, that's important. Then yes, file read file. If this file doesn't exist, so this is Copilot suggesting me code which I used to write before. So I like this feature, but sometimes it lies. So everything in here should be covered by tests like till 100%. OpenAI config, yes, correct. Here it lied again. Config, yes. So there is a problem. Let's check what is it. Right now it's a string. Good. Where does it unmarshal it? I see the problem. So it defined OpenAI config. Then it said, okay, let's rewrite it in here I can say OpenAI config credentials path. That would be correct. Maybe I made similar mistake here. It is possible. Yes. So I made this mistake and it copy pasted it everywhere. But do I need this path in this particular case? Let's leave it. And what's important, it's about to add test for this particular case. So let's say I have the test unit test config. Here is basic tests for basic stuff. Let's say run test. It should be working. Yes. So now I need to ensure that OpenAI credential path is not empty, that suite not empty token. Let's run it. Line 32 token is empty. So let's go to config again. Token was empty. What is this credential path? Okay. Let's make a panic. Config JSON and Marshall file. Okay. I can say panic here with not this but file. Will it work? Because file should be list of bytes, it should be content, which means this test should... Okay, I have token. Everything should be here. Of course. Because this token is JSON as well as YAML empty, it cannot be shown, it cannot be parsed. In here I have storage credentials, and in case if I print it or serialize whatever, it will be printed and exposed straight away. But I have no fear for it because it's local storage in one of my laptops, which has no problems to be exposed. It's not a big deal. But by the way, all the things I'm making, they're public. No problems of leaking whatever, except this particular case. It's OpenAI, they are quite greedy gentlemen and ladies, so what can I do? First of all, I can create a separate token structure. And here I can say type OpenAI token structure, which has token string JSON token. In here I will say, okay, there is token, which is OpenAI token, correct. And here I say OpenAI config.token equals token. Nice. This one can be moved above, I think here. And let's make it not exportable by default. I don't like this solution, but I have what I have right now. There is no... I will refactor it a bit later. Right now I need to make tests to be working. So this particular test works, which means I have token. It's not empty. Credentials also not empty. So where was it? Block OpenAI completion. So in this case, I can say config OpenAI Why it's not auto completing? OpenAI token. Not found. Does it require me to... of course. Okay, now it should be working. In this particular case, this process itself, it simply returns integer, its result of execution. If I have an error, return 1. Maybe it shouldn't be just 1, it should be panic, but I need to save its result no matter of what to file. So panic, I need to call recover. I'm not happy about it. Let me check recover if panic occurs, how Copilot will allow it. Okay. So maybe I should wrap all process calls to recover. What I mean, there is process and there is block. Where was it? Parent block here. I call the function named process, and in case of whatever happened, I should store it to file. And then inside of function, I should not be causing any problems. So what to do? This process should yield something like HTTP request says, okay, there is HTTP 500 server error or whatever, and I need to store result of that to local file. But if I call panic inside, right now let's keep it as recover in here, and let's add some logging. Logger types get logger. Now I should simply say logger warning no error f block has panic. Okay, that's correct. So get logger, it should be singleton as well. Yes. Recover if panic occurs. Nice. But in this particular case, here it is. So I have process, but process takes no data inside, but I need to pass some parameters. So what I have here, process yields process, but it should be block inside. Let's go to the process itself and say block. Obviously, it will yield a lot of things such as wait, not debug, but this interface, it accepts block. Pipeline processor accepts pipeline, but should accept block struct. Let's leave it because it's a bit different. In here, I should say it's pipeline processor. No, it be yes, it should be here. maybe I should. It's time to introduce a few things such as processor HTTP. What does it do? Where was it? Registry. Detector go. Here it is. Block registry. It has input for detector and block itself. So new block HTTP has definition of what's inside. That's fine. But I'm a bit stuck at the moment where I want to pass block data in here. So I should declare it as B block. It will be, I think, fine. So in this block itself, where is it? Processor. Process type. Here it is. So I say, okay, processor, you need to process the block block parent, which implements block interface. So it's all correct in here. Block HTTP should not accept anything, but there is a problem. Let me check where it is. Block parent. What's wrong? Do I miss? No, I do not miss it. Okay. In here, I should say okay. So if I call tests, let's say there was a test for HTTP block. It should work, but I would be happy if it's not working. And it works. Okay, it's quite... I have suspicions. So in this particular case, this process function should accept B block in order to say, okay, this block has some input data. So it's about what data should it accept. So my block in this case has its only definition, like there is JSON schema, name, etc. But the pipeline itself contains input model, etc. So let's check the registry. There was test for the registry, so I'll write a test to ensure that where was it? Pipeline registry. There was catalog here. Load from catalog. There was a test. So I need to ensure that student assert not nil, not empty. Yeah, that would be correct. So I need to ensure that registration of block HTTP and where was it? Config. This block has been registered correctly, as well as blocks equals to list of string, which is this, and block HTTP. Now I need simply to iterate through this and assert that these blocks has been registered correctly. So the schemas are correct, they are fine. What will it do? Yes, it didn't register. Nice. So what I have. Let's also introduce this here. There were two errors, which means two problems. Okay, OpenAI chat completion and block HTTP. Nice. So how does this get works? It takes block slug and makes a map. Quite straightforward. So I need to check here HTTP request. In here I said block HTTP. That's already OpenAI chat completion. So ID. You know what's also interesting? I said it's a slug. P slug or P pipeline. Slug. Where do you get the slug from? It comes from this. Aha. Awesome. It will not work because I need to say I need this. Get text content for video and this. So I'm working with slug, which is unique for everything, but I need to ensure that it was particularly OpenAI. It's a test. That's the reason why I need to include it in a few places. So there are a few things how to do it. Each pipeline has its ID of a block. Okay, there is slug. So this test should ensure that I have block named so it's not empty. Block also, let's call it not block, but block instance. And here I say block in case if it's missing. Now I need to make some sort of, it's not a string, but map string. String. So in here I will have it as what was it named here? Now I need to ensure that block instance ID will be get ID equals to block and if it's not, then I say block what was wrong. So equal values. Okay, block instance get ID is undefined. Pipeline. It's Jesus Christ. It's pipeline. It's not. That's why I shouldn't work on it. Sometimes you need to give your job to chill a bit. So I have done this today and it seems like I have missed a few things. Pipeline registry, it's not a block registry, obviously. This is a slug. So this test will look like, okay, I have one pipeline slug, which equals this. Now I need registry. to get this suite not nil, not empty pipeline. Now I need to say that registered blocks, it's incorrect. It's let's say pipeline should have a method for blocks. Where is it? Pipeline, it says blocks. Is there a method? It's block structure. Okay. No, come back here. For block. So I need to ensure that block structure now it will be correct. So I have a different thing here. The block itself is just an interface. Where was it? Detector here. So it's an interface. It cannot be parsed. In TypeScript, it's awesome. In TypeScript, I can say something like, where is this? Here. In TypeScript, I can say, okay, there is interface, and I can work with it like, let's parse JSON there, or let's utilize its features, properties. But in Golang, obviously, it's not like this. So in Golang, I have an interface which should be implemented by different classes. And in this case, block HTTP, it implements methods, but to parse this pipeline, particular pipeline, I need a separate class. That's what happened, and it caused a bit of mess in my head. And test works beautiful. Now I need to do a few things. I need to ensure that pipeline blocks, it's not empty. Suite greater len pipelines block. So I need to ensure that pipelines blocks were parsed correctly. They are parsed correctly. Nice. Then this cycle ensures that, let's move it like this. So we iterate each block and check if there is block with this ID. Suite not empty block structure. Yes, and let's suite equal values. It's not like that. It will be registered blocks. Let's call it block slug and block ID. It should not work. It should fail. Yes, it fails. Beautiful. So let's check what's inside. It has ID OpenAI chat completion. OpenAI chat completion, it's ID, that's correct. Now it has slug, get text content for video. This is slug. Since slug is unique and ID is not unique, this mapping is correct. Now what I have. Am I making something wrong? Let's cause panic. Block slug and block ID. What's wrong here? Am I making something wrong? Let's ask Copilot iterate map. How can it be done? No results. Okay. Yes, it's the same. I was afraid that I'm missing something, but no. Maybe something. No, it's correct. It's key, the slug, and this is ID. Okay, maybe the parsing of this made incorrect. Let's go panic here. It's possible that JSON, I have made a mistake somewhere. OpenAI chat completion. It's block structure ID, that is correct. Block structure ID and block structure slug. Let's call it here. Get text content for video. Yes, it's the same. So in here, I'm checking that also this test itself is, this cycle is not correct, because I need to iterate each block, gather their IDs and list of these blocks, maybe make a mapping. So where is that register itself? Here. Where is pipeline contains slug, title, description, and blocks. Good. Let's make it here. Then I have this pipeline itself defined here, slug, title, description, and blocks. Yes, that is correct. Let's check JSON. Slug, title, description, blocks. That is correct as well. Now, block structure. I have ID, slug, description, ID, slug, description. Yes, everything is correct. But the test says no. Of course. Sorry. That's a problem. If you noticed, I was comparing slug versus ID, but at last I have, that's the reason I need test. It's to be convinced that I'm not making some grave mistakes. It works. So what if I run tests in everywhere? Everything works, correct? So I have pipeline, I have block, I have this pipeline registry working, but there is pipeline test, block HTTP test. Yes. So right now there is an error because everywhere in every test I'm checking the block as unit. I'm not checking this. I'm not checking this data is validated correctly. So it's already 13 minutes over time. I will do it now. It will take a bit, but that's the target of the stream. It's to make this code, and the next things, it won't be that complicated, because all I will need to do is either to copy paste or make some parent/generic. So let's go. OpenAI completion. How do I pass pipeline data inside of this block? That's the question. So I have this block, it has schema, but so I have process, but there is nothing about what block data is. So block detector in here, it simply says, okay, there is block, do it. I need to keep this as it is, because it's just container, it has nothing related to data. That's correct. Block processor, it accepts block. That is not correct. Block processor should accept block as a container and data. Block struct, I think. Yes, that would be correct. And also let's call it not block struct, but let's refactor it. Rename sample. It's data structure, so block data. That would be correct. Now let's execute this big test again. Beautiful. Interface is broken, that's the reason it's not working. So I need to find a few places where it's broken. Here. I'm passing block, that's correct, but process. Where it is? Here. So I have schema, I have processor, which says what process. Also this one in here. It has process, nothing inside. It is possible that I must pass block data here. Types block data. Yes, that should be correct, but the question is it pointer here? It's a block interface as well as block parent, where there is a pipeline which makes it. So pipeline, where are you? Here. Pipeline contains blocks, but pipeline has nothing. Does it have process? Yes, pipeline has process, but it's not defined anywhere. As well as pipeline processor, it's only one place. Beautiful. So the block itself cannot process anything because it doesn't know, it's not aware, but the processor, its interface, that's the place which processes everything. In my case, why it's here, where is block HTTP? Here. Process types block data, and here, where is block itself? Aha, P process. I need to say what it should process. No, it's processor which processes the block with schema and data. where does block data comes from and who calls this process? Let's check. No one calls. So it's empty. That's awesome. That means where is block itself? Yeah. Block processor should have this. And in here I say, okay, there is block processor and data. Let's call it block data. That would be correct. So this interface. Okay, you have to process this data. The problem. The processor, it's an interface in here. And in here, do I yield it as a new block processor? Where is it? Is it pointer? Because I don't want it to be a pointer. Yes, it's not pointer now, as well as here. Where is this processor? Sorry, but you're no longer pointer. In here, I should say I should say data. And then I should say new. That would be correct. So every time things happens, I should yield new processor HTTP. The problem, I do not want it to have pointer because we'll have different interfaces, different places to call, and it should be literally immutable. This data should not, even if I make mistake, it should not mutate. Let's call it sorry. I don't want it to be mutated, but I have what I have. It's new instance. Okay, let's keep it as is. Processor HTTP. It will have data. And here I can say, okay, I must work like this. And what's important in this particular case, I don't need to say there is a model because I have block HTTP. P data. Yes, that should be it. Chat completion message. Chat message role user. Okay, this is that should be it. To be honest, I don't like the idea of passing data inside of processor. It should be passed into process itself. Yes, let's make it, because instantiating it never was good. So in this case, data block yes, that should be correct. Block which types block and data which is block data. And here I can validate that block schema is it validates that block data. So I think I had a method, but it was done somewhere else. Okay, we have 20 minutes overtime. So my plan. So today I have done this like 50% because there are no tests. I will add tests. Next stream will be on Wednesday, August 28. My plan. Add tests for block OpenAI request because it's missing, I think. Tests. Yes, this test is missing. The test is not added because I need to mock HTTP stuff. I have it mocked in config test. Where is it? Block HTTP test here. I have it mocked here. So I said, okay, there is HTTP server. There is some status OK or internal server error. To be honest, I need to mock OpenAI responses. It will be the same as block detection, etc. So yes, and here I detect HTTP server, which yields OK, and it's detected. And here I try to detect server which is offline or have errors, and it yields, sorry, schema validate fail. So in that particular case, I will also have to add tests for validation, detection, and mocks. So add tests and implement or maybe fix block process method. After that, all other stuff will look like, okay, I go here, where is that block? I define schema and I define function here. So I define some client code. All other will be easier. So right now it's work for a few hours, I think, to copy paste stuff. Also, oh, it's data. It's data. And since I have validation, there is validation, I think, in registry. Yes, here it is. I have schema and it validates its data against something. So let me simply copy paste this code in here. It won't work, obviously, but I will validate block schema against data which comes from pipeline. Yes, this is what I want to do. By the way, it works for some reason. It should be P, so block schema get schema string. Yes, it should be correct. Validate pipeline schema loader. No, it should be data. Okay, I'll figure it out, but in here it's not registry schema, but block get schema. Yes, here I don't need it, and here block data. So new string loader, it won't be new string loader, new row loader data. Yes, it should be like this. Here it says pslug. I don't need pslug, I need block slug, or even data slug. Here it should be working. So thank you for watching. It was quite boring, a long video. but the suffering will benefit in future. Thanks for watching again, and bye. See you later.